It can vary depending on the animal. It's not, and I guess it can vary depending on the species of animals too. But however, in general, they do see us as a fellow being on this planet, and they don't understand sometimes why we don't understand that. Like they see us as fellow, living beings on planet Earth, but we don't often see them the same way, and they don't totally get that. It's like, what is the big deal? Like, why do you think you're different or separate? I mean, we're all different. There's a difference between understanding that you're separate and different, and separating yourself out from being a part of nature and animals. And those are two distinct different things. Animals totally get that, but humans tend to, as a species, we separate ourselves out and say, we're humans, and then there's the rest of nature and animals. We're different. Like we put ourselves in a different category, and that's not true. We're part of everything, just like they are. They see that. Wild animals see us as that. Now, can they see us as being an interference in life? Yes, because we often are. So they definitely can see us that way. But do they look at us as humans being the scum of the planet? No, even though sometimes we are. But no, they don't. It's they respect us as being another animal, another being on the planet, just like the trees and the dolphins and the whatever. We're all they see everybody as being unique and special for who they are, and that in general is how they view us. So the human view of nature and animals is the one that's very different. That's the one that's actually problematical, and it's problematical for us. Um, I would go as far as saying it's problematical for the survival of humanity to feel that we're not a part of what's going on, or that we can control what's going on with the rest of the world. We're not in control of that. We're a part of that. Do we interfere with the processes of nature? Absolutely. We do it all the time. And the rest of nature and animals look at us and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, it makes no sense. So, um, but again, they don't do that with this hatred towards humanity. And that's always been a surprise to me, because you would think they have reason to. In many cases, we destroy their habitat, we kill them off, we poison them, we do all of these things in our basic experience of being a human, that our very existence in urbanization and in industrialization and all those things that we do, that takes us away from nature and destroys nature itself. They meaning wildlife, nature, animals, domestic animals. In I'm talking in broad generalizations now. They, as a whole, would love to, and they're trying to help us come back into the fold. Because if we understood we were a part of that, we wouldn't be destroying it. We would be preserving it.
What ways do you feel like they do that? Try to help us get back
So,
in touch with that.
so nature and animals, in both cases, it's a process of bringing us into our hearts and helping us to understand that we are all one. We're all together in this. We think of cats as being totally separate from humans, and although they're important in our lives, like domestic animals, we have gone to this place as humans and saying domestic animals are a part of our entire. They're a part of the tapestry that makes us whole. So for many people that have pets, cats and dogs, I mean, are emotionally our saving grace, and especially in the world as crazy as it is. Animals bring us back into our heart. But in general, just being out in nature brings you back into your heart. It brings you back into understanding who you are. And that's about for them. That's where they live. When we get into that space of like, oh my goodness, I can breathe, I can feel my own awareness. I can feel who I am. I can feel what I want and what I know. And it's clarity, and it's not all this stuff bombarding me. When we get into that space, that's the space that they live in. And then they are like excited about that because they're welcoming us home. Literally, it's like, now you got it. You're away from all that other distraction and noise and constant bombardment of whether it's from the internet or traffic or whatever we're constantly doing, looking at our phones, and it's constantly taking us away from the focus of where we need to be, which is inside of ourselves and in our hearts. And that's what they're trying to help us get back. So Sebastian just said, I wish people would listen to what we're saying because this is so important. He said, people are always outside of themselves. He said, I try to bring them back in all the time. And he said, people wonder why I jump on their shoulders. It's because I'm trying to make sure that they understand here I am front and center. Pay attention. Because he said, when people do that, then they go into their hearts, right? I know. Yeah. He said, this is very wise. Yeah. So he loves this conversation. And that's why he loves being here, because we're a place that people can come and just be with them. And he likes that. He feels important. He feels like that's a big part of his mission and what he does.
Yeah, and I can attest to the jumping on the shoulders thing. Yes. It does like shock you almost.
It does.
But then it's so sweet and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, we should explain to the viewers that you can be standing in this room and talking to somebody or whatever, and all of a sudden from the floor, he leaps up onto your shoulders. But when he lands, it's like almost gentle. He like has a very soft landing, and then he just stays there, and he's all happy. But yeah, he's been known to do that. It startles people a lot. We try to warn visitors when they come in this room that he might do that.
So if animals could tell humans one thing, if there was one thing that they really wish we could understand, what do you think it would be?
I've been asked this question a lot, and just my work with lots and lots of animals over the last 30, 40 years. The one thing that they wish we understood was that they wish that we would see ourselves the way they see us. And actually, I've seen magnets. I had a refrigerator magnet that had a picture of a dog on it. It was a yellow lab, which I happen to have a yellow lab. And it said, Lord, let me be the kind of person my dog thinks I am. But there's so much truth to that, because they see us for who we are. They get us at our heart and soul level. And they find us to be beautiful. And they find us to be loving. And they find us, in general, to be very kind. And that, I will say this, and a lot of people watching this are going to disagree with me. I'm going to see it coming in the comments. So let's try some positive comments on here. Because here's the thing. I am a true believer after like 40 years, and I've seen personally the worst of humanity with animals, and I've seen the best of humanity with animals. I've seen both. But one of the things the animals have taught me is that the human heart is as large as the animal heart. What we see in these animals that love unconditionally, the human heart has the exact same capacity to be that way. We're lost. As a species, we're lost. And we are hardwired for compassion and kindness and empathy. That's what humans are hardwired for, just like the animals are. But we get lost in so many ways. We get lost in a world of overload of sounds and just even being in a city in traffic. I mean, we totally get outside of ourselves. And animals want to say to people, please find yourself. Please take that time to find your empathy, to find your compassion, to find your kindness. And don't worry what other people are doing. If you're finding other people who are not compassionate, or you see other people being unkind or bullying or whatever, all of those traits that make you crazy and say, this world has gone crazy. The best thing you can do, and this is what the animals want us to know, the best thing you can do is just be kind and compassionate in spite of what other people are doing. And if you did that every day in your life and lived from that space and breathing and connecting to the earth and connecting to each other and animals, the world would change very quickly. But we're all worried about what everybody else is doing. And we're trying to respond. You're busy trying to respond to the energy that other people are putting out. And if that other energy is negative to you, then don't participate in it. And by getting upset about it, you're participating in it and you're giving it life. And instead, go back to being kind. It can be anything. You can be driving somewhere and you see somebody trying to pull out in traffic. Stop and let them by. Stop and let them in. Wave to somebody. Smile at somebody. it's so simple to be kind. I've watched recently, and it's not just recent. I've seen this a lot. Like I've been in medical settings where patients are treating human patients, are treating nurses really rotten and yelling at them, and because people are in pain, they don't feel good. Okay, but when you do one thing, it's a simple thing, thanking somebody for caring for you, thanking somebody for being that person that's there for you in that moment, even when you don't feel good. When you really feel that gratitude and you thank somebody, watch what happens, because I've seen this firsthand where I've thanked somebody for being there and suddenly they come back in and they say to me, "You're the first really kind person I've met today." It makes a difference in their day. You can make that difference every single day and change a lot of lives, but we have to decide to make that difference and be that difference, not just say the words, but actually mean them. You know, people are out there doing great things, and we get clouded by the people we think are doing negative things, and then we take all that in and we just say, "See, the world is awful. The world is awful." But for every negative thing you can tell me, I can find more in kindness that's happening. But it's what you focus on. And the animals want us to focus on our kindness and our love and our empathy and our compassion. That's what they want.
Mm. I know animals don't think about the future like we do, but do you think from their perspective, did they see more people trending towards coming back to this way of living?
They actually are very positive about it. That's what tries to keep me going, because I get negative too, and I get seeing things too and think, oh my God, it's never going to happen. We're never going to, we're not compassionate. And when I'm up against an animal cruelty case, I instantly will go to this not good place, and I have to stop myself, which I do. It's a conscious effort. I actually at some point stop myself and go, hold on. All right. Some people did some really horrible things. Whether they meant to or not, let's put that off to the side and let me look at this animal. And then I go to the animal and say, what is it you need right now? And what that animal needs usually is compassion and kindness. So now suddenly we need to be the compassion and kindness, because if you're the angry that's bringing in these animals that have just come through hell, and suddenly you're the angry person about it, that does not help them. It doesn't help you either. But when you find yourself suddenly, and it's a conscious effort, we do this here, and you find yourself saying, okay, all right, so this horse has come in horrible condition, or this dog and cat or whatever has come in horrible condition. Then we say, okay, hold on. What does he need? What does she need? She needs love and kindness right now. So let's be that. Let's not be angry about what happened. Let's move forward. So they do think about the future. They don't worry about the future like we do. They don't anticipate things. They just know that the power that they have is being in the present. That's the power that we have as well. In this present moment, be compassion, be kindness, be loving, and go to the next moment. And then you in each moment, you have a choice of how you are and how you react. All of us have a choice in that. And I know people on here are saying, yeah, but the atrocities that are happening, and yes, there are atrocities happening. Absolutely. I'm not saying that they're not, and I'm not saying that we should just, blindly look past them. But you feel helpless because you can't do something. And the more you feel helpless about it, the more in despair you go, and you're adding to the wrong energy. And if instead you look at what can I do? Today, what I can do, I can't fix what's going on the other side of the world. I can't fix what's going on the other side of the country. I can't fix what's going on the other side of my village. But I can fix what's happening with me today and the people that I meet and interact with. And that has enormous power, and that's what we're not looking at. Because if everybody did that, or even enough people did it, it would shift everything else. It's truly that simple. But we just get caught up in things. The animals understand how simple it is. And I tell you, when we've had animals come through horrible, horrible situations, they do not stay in hatred and anger about it. They just don't. They have to process trauma. They process that. They have to heal. But they don't hate, and they don't go into this permanent, like all people are awful kind of thing. They just don't do that.
Yeah, and I mean, animals see us at our worst a lot of the times,
Yeah.
because we know animals don't judge us. So when
Right.
we're in our home, sometimes they see the worst parts of us, and they still see that
The better
good.
part. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see negative sides of our animals. Sometimes they get mad, they fight with each other, they bite us, they scratch us, they do things in a moment of fear or in a moment of they get angry, and they respond. But then it's over. And they don't harbor that. They don't hang on to it. They don't hold grudges. They don't gossip. They don't, walk around all day going, oh, that was horrible. What happened to me 5 years ago? And now I'm going to take it out on everybody else. They just don't do that. They let it go. So they're an inspiration. They truly are. But they know we can do that. They know we can do that.